In 2009, an up-and-coming CEO named Stockton Rush founded an ocean exploration company named OceanGate. Stockton had always wanted to be an astronaut, but his poor vision crushed those dreams, so he turned to the next best thing: the ocean. OceanGate would send tourists out into the sea on submarines for a hefty price. However, it still wasn't making waves in the industry. In 2016, Rush came up with an idea to gain attention for his company. He would send passengers in his submersibles to visit shipwrecks. His early attempts at this were largely successful, but he had his eye on a much bigger prize. The Titanic is the most famous shipwreck of all time, and there was a large crowd that would pay hundreds of thousands to see it firsthand. Rush connected the dots and began work on a new submersible that would be equipped to function under the extreme ocean pressure of the Titanic. He dubbed it Titan. The Titan left a lot to be desired and was noted for being MacGyver-y and having a number of questionable design choices. It was operating in international waters, so it never got confirmed as seaworthy. It never had proper testing of its safety or scan to check for adhesion. It was only designed to go a third of the depth needed to make it to the Titanic. It used a metal construction pipe as a ballast, and worst of all, it used a $30 Bluetooth controller to navigate the sub. Attempting to deploy a sub like this would be extremely risky. In 2018, Rush had received a report from his company director criticizing his business choices. This led to the Marine Technical Society sending him a letter saying that they were concerned about his experimental approach. Rush was an intelligent man, and decided to do the right thing by suing his company director and claiming that the regulations the MTS wanted him to follow were stifling innovation. OceanGate went full speed ahead on a number of expeditions to the legendary liner, many of which were fraught with technical errors. In one instance, a thruster was put on the wrong way, so the pilot drove with the controller sideways. OceanGate was starting to fall apart as a company since the many safety concerns and bad Newfoundland weather meant that they had to keep delaying, until one day they said screw it and decided to go anyways. The Titan could fit 5 passengers, all of whom had their own interesting story in this expedition. P.H. Nargeolet, a French Navy commander who is a deep-sea explorer and Titanic expert. He would be the guide for this expedition. Hamish Harding, a British adventurer and a member of the Explorers Club who had gone to the Mariana Trench, outer space, and Antarctica. Shahzada Dawood, a very important Pakistani CEO and general science nerd. Suleiman Dawood, a terrified college student who didn't want to go and was just doing this to make his dad happy. And lastly, Stockton Rush, the Sadie CEO of OceanGate, who has decided to pilot the vessel himself. June 16th. The submersible and its crew ride a ship to the drop site, where they will embark on their journey. June 17th. The ship arrives at the drop site. Sunday, June 18th. At 9:30 a.m., with 96 hours of oxygen left, the submersible departs into the inky depths, communicating every 15 minutes with those on the ship above via text. At 94 hours of oxygen, the Titan stops communicating with the crew above. At 89 hours of oxygen left, the vessel is supposed to resurface, but doesn't. This is alarming as the Titan has 7 different safety mechanisms for resurfacing if something goes wrong. At 86 hours left, the Coast Guard is informed of the disappearance and gets in contact with the Navy. 82 hours left. The United States gets in contact with Canada and asks them to help with the rescue effort. Canada accepts, and the two prepare for a rescue mission the next day. The submersible is running out of air, and the crew will be dead by Thursday morning if they aren't saved. Failure means 5 people will slowly suffocate inside of a cramped metal tube at the bottom of the ocean, while the whole world watches. Monday, June 19th. The US and Canadian militaries swarm the area looking for the vessel. They're able to rapidly mobilize a large force, but are held back by how bad the weather is and how large the area they have to search is. They don't have any vessel that can actually reach the Titan. In fact, the only other submersible that could reach the Titan in time is the RV Limiting Factor, which happens to be owned by the CEO of Valve. The rescue team searches late into the night, but with 59 hours left, their chances look grim. Tuesday, June 20th. By Tuesday morning, with 44 hours left, the search has escalated. A pipe-laying ship has arrived, and the French have promised to send a deep-sea diving vessel. The Air National Guard even shows up to make an appearance. By this point, the rescuers have searched 10,000 square miles, but found nothing, until finally, at 41 hours left, a Canadian sonar picks up on a brief metal banging noise. Half an hour later, the same banging noise is heard, and then again, half an hour later. The rescue force holds out hope that they can use this sound to locate the sub. By this point, news of the sub had reached the broader public and resulted in a large reaction. Most were horrified by the concept of slowly running out of oxygen in a cramped coffin. Some found the event humorous and made memes of it, and because the internet is the internet, some were openly celebrating the deaths of people who have more money. Discussion around this incident quickly devolved into the cesspool of envy, loathing, and finger-pointing that you would expect from Twitter and TikTok. Wednesday, June 21st. Meanwhile, with 25 hours left, the Navy sends probes to try and locate the sub using the rhythmic banging sound. At 17 hours left, the French arrive with a fully fitted research ship and deep-sea diving vessel, meaning they can finally search the depths of the ocean floor. The banging noises seem to be leading to the location of the sub, and they now have all the tools they need to find the sub and recover it. The clock is ticking down, and it's going to be a close call, but the team just might find the sub before it runs out of oxygen. The rescue team searches day and night with all the tools they have, but it isn't quite enough, and on Thursday morning, 0 hour arrives. They were too late. The passengers are dead. The families are informed, and OceanGate releases a statement mourning the loss and praising the passengers as true explorers. The rescue mission turns into a recovery mission, and surprisingly soon after, the debris of the sub are found. The Navy reveals publicly that it had heard sounds implying implosion around the time the sub disappeared. The US and Canada launch investigations into this incident, and the public at large quickly moves on to other interests. Perhaps strangest of all, the banging noises are never explained aside from being hastily dismissed as unrelated to the incident. Many questions remain unanswered as of now and will likely remain so, forever drifting below the waves, never to return.